I live this thing. And, the only way to transform any economy and to make it more competitive is to be that thing that people are failing to imagine. So for many young artists, when you talk to them, you say, they'll say things like, I want to book this venue, but there's gatekeepers, they've got their own promoters, all of that. Yes, we are living in a country of gatekeeping, because they know that they've convinced us of scarcity thinking.
Absolutely.
Stop thinking in a scarcity mode. Think in an abundance mode. Say, there's a gatekeeper there, which means there's a gate. I don't want to go where there's gates. One thing that I picked up, the tour operators, God bless them, but they're afraid to come to Soweto at night. So whereas when I used to see that as kind of a frustration, but now I've seen it as an opportunity, because I'm like, okay, you won't do at night. Please don't do at night then. Let me be the night person.
Yeah. So you are turning it around, because that's the space now where you are able to operate.
Yes.
That melodical sound, that sting that just welcomed you and me into this platform is our brand new theme, where we are coming live from our brand new facility in this edition of Gauteng Live, your premier platform where we speak about everything entertainment, the visitor economy, creative sector. And today we are having a special focus as we are celebrating Women's Month here in South Africa. And it doesn't get better to speak about tourism and the arts than my guest, the Nomi superstar.
Hello.
How are you, friend?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm excited. We have now been able to sit in this beautiful space and have the conversation.
It is beautiful. I will say that.
Yeah, our mission is to inspire, is to engage and learn also, and allow for a culture of engagement, especially in this world right now where there is misinformation, miscommunication, and all the mals that are out there. And you are in the space, you are releasing music, you are doing the walking tours. Actually, when we characterize you and classify you, how do we classify you?
You classify me. Oh, look at me doing that.
That's you.
Look at the mic. It's like, come closer, closer. You classify me as a creative.
Yeah.
You classify me as an activist. Yeah, I think those two words, because the creativity takes into consideration the music, but it also takes into consideration the innovation, the creative thinking, and the activist brings in my social work, socio-economic development work. So I'm a creative activist.
Creative activist, and you being in the heart of South Africa, the golden province of Gauteng. And I was saying Gauteng accounts for over 34% of South Africa's GDP. Gauteng accounts to just under 8% of Africa's GDP. So this is quite huge. If this was a country, it will be the 7th biggest economy in the continent. And at the heart of that, it's Soweto, which is not just a destination or a space you see in the weather reports or in a map where you see there's a Soweto. It's actually the energy and the pulse, the past, the now, and the future. And you are at the heart of driving walking tours, ensure people come and interface with the specific city and destination that we have. What has been some of the challenges you come across as you sell night tours, for example, and in Soweto?
So I want to start by talking about why I started doing night tours. I have an NPC called Funky Time Walking.
Okay.
And Funky Time Walking aims to make it safe for a woman to walk
Is it
any...
funky?
Funk it,
Okay.
I'm walking. Funk it, I'm walking.
Yes.
And it aims to make it safe for a woman to walk at any time of day in any condition.
100.
Because as we know, we are the capital of GBV, we are the capital of femicide, and women are just not safe in South Africa. We are not safe in our homes, we are not safe in the street, we are not safe. And I, having lived abroad, I realized that, our inability to walk as women, just walk,
Yeah.
it means that we are not enjoying freedom.
Yeah.
As South Africans, if you can't walk, where are you free?
Yeah.
And so I started this organization, and basically, what it is, it's a think tank that thinks about ideas and businesses, so like sustainable businesses that will enable women's safety. Because we've been to the marches, we've seen the marches, we've seen the bus parades, we've seen the dialogues, and still women are not safe.
And you still Beijing,
Yeah,
among others.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we're still not safe. And so for me as an economist, I thought, the way in which things happen in South Africa and around the world is that something will come to be if it makes business sense. And so Funketam Walking then embarked on 5 to 6 years worth of research to say what kind of business in Soweto would enable women's safety. Hence, Soweto Night Out Tours was born. And so at the heart of our business, we are enabling women's safety. Over the 5 years, we got built very strong networks with the Community Policing Forum.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, the CPFs, they patrol at night for free. And they keep our streets safe for free. And so what our business has done is that it's monetized what they already do for free.
Absolutely.
So when I have a night tour, all the CPFs get paid. In fact, we've got CPFs that we worked with from Orlando East who helped us build our business. They get paid regardless of whether the walk is in their area or not.
Yeah.
When there's a night walk and there's a booking, they get paid because they help me build the business.
Yeah.
They are investors. So Soweto Night Out Tours is that. And we do night walking tours. We've got 6 products throughout Soweto. So from Zimhlope, Jabavu, Orlando West, Orlando East, Dobsonville, there out by Regina Mundi, we've got routes. And what we've done is we've incorporated a youth choir. Because now when you holistically look at insecurity for women, it's got a lot to do with, of course, South Africa is a very patriarchal society. We've got toxic masculinity that plays a role in women's insecurity. But in addition to that, it's the crime.
Yeah.
It's the drug abuse. It's the addiction issues of our young people. So as part of our night walking tour, we work with a choir, Karabo ya Morena. And as our business grows, we want to work with more and more choirs because we want to give young people something to do at night.
So they sing along the route.
They sing along the
pump
route.
The energy.
It's amazing.
And the guests, the walkers sing along.
Yes.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. It's a
Yeah.
vibe. They bring such an amazing vibe. And then, of course, our business employs tour guides. I'm not a tour guide myself. I'm a tour operator.
Yeah.
But I employ tour guides. So accredited tour guides then get employment. So our business really was about how do we enable women's safety and the economy of Soweto and the trends in Soweto. 300,000 tourists visit Soweto every year. That's an economic trend, but they don't stay till after 6. They don't stay after 6 p.m. So we looked at that trend. We said, we can. It's very difficult to create a new behavior.
Yeah.
So, for example, if there's no tourism in Zwelitsha, it's very difficult to create tourism.
Yeah.
But it's not so difficult to
Work.
work with consumers and adjusting behavior. So, so for example, if you go into a community where nobody uses washing powder, it's very difficult to get them to use washing powder.
Yeah.
But if you go somewhere where they're using washing powder, it's very easy to convince them to change from this washing powder to the next washing
So
powder.
you are adjusting on what already exists. And I'm happy that you have designed things to this. You looked at the problem and then you design to solve.
Absolutely.
And for me, that's what the future holds, and young people and women in particular, with your ability to lead, with your ability to bring everybody on board, gives us that opportunity to actually design. So now you have designed for perception and realities of Soweto not being safe at night, and for women in particular. But women brings in the family. They brings in the kids. They force us husbands to go in there. We are official photographers there, taking pictures.
Absolutely.
And how has been the uptake, and what are some of the reviews that you are getting? I mean, I'm just saying this coming from a very big walk, one of the third biggest walk in the world, the 702
I love that.
Walk the Talk, right, Epitori, at the
Yeah.
heart of the country's capital city. But what has been the response, to the product, not just the product of walking tours, but to the entire ecosystem of the experience where you are also doing wellness?
Look, we are very well reviewed. I don't think we have anything less than a 5-star review. When people come on our night tours, they have a great time. We've created a package. We are also well reviewed by the community. I must understand that we are unlocking the economic value of safety. So in a community, we are showing them that, if it's safe, there's job creation and there's activity. We're attracting positive energy and aligning with our purpose, our positive purpose. And so within the communities, we are very well received. Now, South Africa, and Baba, you'll understand this, any economy in South Africa, any established economy in South Africa, there's still a lot of need for transformation.
100.
So, from the perspective of people booking night tours, because I'm a B2B business, I am a tour operator. I need at least 20 people. I mean, listening to my infrastructure, I need at least 20 people to book before I can have a night tour.
Absolutely.
And for me, working in that space, that's a challenge, getting into that tour operator space, because that space is already almost owned and controlled by multinationals.
Yes, yeah.
And so,
Unfortunately,
and so being able to access that space, but it doesn't, for me, I say it's a challenge, it's not a barrier. It's a challenge where you kind of navigate that space. And so for me, I've been thinking creatively around, okay, the tour operators that are established, who is their market? And I now know their market. So now I'm creating a new market for myself, right? Because there's markets, there's, Kenyans, there's Nigerians, there's Ghanaians, there's Black Americans from the USA who would be interested in my experience. One thing that I picked up, the tour operators, God bless them, but they're afraid to come to Soweto at night. So whereas when I used to see that as kind of a frustration, but now I've seen it as an opportunity, because I'm like, okay, you won't do at night. Please don't do at night then. Let me be the night person.
Yeah. So you are turning it around, because that's the space now where you are able to operate.
Yes.
So where there's that's the economist in you kicks in.
Yes.
Where there is market failure, you look at and unlock the opportunity.
Absolutely. So when I came to understand Guti, actually it's a policy position for them, I said, this is fantastic. It'll take time for them to undo their own policy. But while we're doing that, let us own the night economy. I went to, the new bill, the Township Economic Development Bill.
Yeah.
For me, I went to one of their sessions
yeah.
where they now are talking to people in the
hearings.
public hearings.
Yes, yeah.
And at the public hearing, I said, please, in the bill, it must say that the night economy in Soweto is now reserved for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Because we also need our government to protect us.
Yeah.
Because you must believe that when Nomsa has now activated the night economy, those big tour operators will now take me out of the game. So my government, now that we know they don't want to play in that space, I am playing in that space. I am now making that space welcoming to tourists. So I am doing all the groundwork.
Yeah.
Nomsa, with her pocket money and her savings, is busy working with CPFs. She's changing that economy. Then now, when that economy is unlocked, I must benefit from it. So that's, there's a role for entrepreneurs, for activists to play. But I also believe that my government must also, that's when you need now an agile government that is
Absolutely.
responsive
An
to say,
activist government.
an activist government to
Absolutely.
say, they're not playing in that space. No one's
Yeah.
going to fight about that law when you pass it to say,
And I guess Nomsa is not just, and I understand when it starts in the townships, because the act now has made it usable to actually take your grandparents' four-room house, turn it to an Airbnb, and go to the bank and be able to put that as surety. While before you couldn't, because the
absolutely,
place were not classified as business districts.
absolutely.
And now you are taking it a step higher to say this also becomes a set aside, because we are there, but not just, I guess, in townships, because global competitive cities like Johannesburg, like the Gauteng city region as a whole, are 24-hour cities.
Absolutely.
And it can't be that at 5 o'clock everybody wants to knock off, and 8 o'clock everybody goes to work. That is why the highways are clogged up, and the buses are clogged up, and the prices go up. So how do we make sure that even in the hubs, your Melrose Arch, your Melvilles of this place, the creators, another Nomsa in that space, that are part of this network, and for me, it doesn't even get bigger when it's held by its horns, this bull, by women that says, we are not afraid. That gives me the 1955 generation
Absolutely.
goosebumps,
Thank you. Thank you. What an honor to be compared to such incredible women. For me, I live this thing. And, the only way to transform any economy, and to make it more competitive, is to be that thing that people are failing to imagine. And so Soweto Night Out Tours it's protest. It's alternative protest. When you look at our night tour, we look like a protest.
La Marcha.
We look like a protest. We've got flags. We are big. We're a big group of people. We're alternative protest. What we are doing is that we are performing the alternative.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, there is no reason why Johannesburg is, let alone South Africa, but I want to focus on Joburg because that's where I am. There's no reason why Gauteng is working on the 8-to-5 model.
Yeah.
We don't have weather like Europe, like America. In America in winter, they have days that they call a snow day where nobody goes to work. That's how cold it gets.
Yeah.
Whereby it's now actually dangerous to your well-being to actually leave your home.
Yeah.
That's how cold it gets. This is why people have these times, these 8-to-5, whatever. For me, I said, with the night tourism business, I said, in fact, Soweto is even nicer at night. Because during the day, because it's so close to the mine dumps, when it's windy during the day, Soweto is dusty during the day.
It's dusty, and the air,
And the air.
and that pollution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, no, but Soweto, it's beautiful at night. And so I built this business at night to say, why are we not working at night? There's no reason why we can't walk at night, because the weather in South Africa is very, very good. If there's one thing God gave us, competitive advantage, no one can compete with South Africa. It's our weather. Our weather year-round.
Blue skies.
I'm talking year-round.
Year-round.
It's never too hot. It's never too cold. And we don't have those things, cyclones, those things that happen in other countries,
absolutely.
We don't have that sorcery going on in South Africa. And so God's given us this competitive advantage. And so I wanted to live this life. But also in my day-to-day, I also even pose this question to my friends in the same space to say, why are we not creating our own schools that operate according to our hours? Why is it that my children have to wake up crying in the morning at 7 a.m.? Why is it that we're living this life? Because school in South Africa could easily start at 10 or start at 12 and kids come out later. Giving parents time to go to work and to knock off. Like, even the way that our economy is structured, we have allowed, we say that we are free, right? But now we need to take this freedom thinking and apply it into our day-to-day. There are things that keep us in shackles, in captivity, that are manufactured. by capital, which
Yeah.
we don't need to
We
necessarily
need to
comply
unlend them.
with.
We need to
Yes,
unlend them.
of course, there are big corporations and companies that will want to maintain that, and that's fine for people that are working in those corporations. But how is it that we start to reimagine what does a day look like? What does school look like? What does work look like? For myself, I'm looking for a homeschooling option for my children because I'm
Yeah.
saying, I mean, I'm at home all the time.
Yeah.
I only leave home at night. I want to have an option where I'm building family. I'm building, real people that are holistic, that are healthy. Um, I like to make the example of in France. In France, on Wednesdays, everybody goes to work and to school at the middle of the day. The
Yeah.
morning is for family.
Yeah.
We need to start doing
No,
that kind of thing.
and that brings to me the point, and especially around the model. So there was a huge debate in the tourism space about the pricing model, and do we have a price for South African and a cost for internationals? And I guess it comes from also the cyclic nature of our tourism.
Mm,
So we do tourism ka weekend.
mm,
Um, the BNB operates when we are coming to the funeral or to the wedding, we book a BNB. Um, Robben Islands or Maroping have a pensioners special ka Wednesday and other chain stores, as you know.
mm.
And you'll see the pensioners queuing there and they're like, so that's how this thing is structured. And this affects a price model because weekend is high demand and the prices goes up. And therefore it excludes
Mm.
those that don't have. But can we afford to go on a Tuesday and explore? So why what is it that we are doing wrong? Because at the height of COVID, it was possible. We normalized being able to work from home, to be able to work from everywhere,
Mhm,
and I want to argue that there was even more productivity.
mhm.
So what do you think we're not doing right? And to what extent does your business set up a model that others can look at, especially in a vibey cosmopolitan city like Johannesburg, where there's no physical mining that must start at 4 in the morning. Actually, the economy is the creative, which you need your quiet space. It needs just you to be there. You can be working from anywhere.
And mind you, if you're in mining, you'll know that mines run 24/7 because the gold doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
they make the humans like the gold they work shifts 24 hours. With our business, because of what we've been doing, and because of our premise to make it safe for a woman to walk at any time of day in any condition, what we were looking at was women in the workplace. Through the research, we were seeing that, there are barriers for women to succeed in the workplace that are based on their inability to stay late at work. And so this is why we wanted to do the night walks, wanted to make the night safer.
Yeah.
In addition to that, when we were building our business model, we also didn't want to compete with the weekend.
Yes.
So if you look at all our night walks, we specialize during the week. We want corporates to book us during the week. Also because of our market. We can't compete with the
Yeah.
operators that are there.
Yeah.
So we are tapping into a new market. We're going to direct to corporates. Say book. Now a corporate can't bring stuff on a Saturday or a Sunday. They're going to bring them on a Wednesday or Tuesday. But it also is good for our business model because what we're also trying to do is to keep restaurants in Soweto alive. So restaurants in Soweto only make money over the weekend because in Soweto there's no culture
Yeah.
of dinner during the week.
Yes.
So we wanted to bring them large groups of people during the week so that every ever so often they're getting 60 people coming to their restaurant, coming and having a starter dinner and a cool drink. I'm a very firm believer in, if you conceive it, you can achieve it. So we conceive, we say,
Yeah.
let's just do it.
Yeah.
It might be that it's just a small thing that we're doing, but let's do it. And as we're doing it, we're watching other people follow suit. When we started our night tours, we used to make special requests to museums to open for us at night. Now, museums open for us at night. We don't need to do the special request. And also, they also run their own programs at
100.
night now.
Yeah.
Because they've identified that, no, man, we don't have people coming into the museums because during the day in South Africa, everybody's at work or at school. And that's when we open. Why are we not opening at 4 p.m. till 10 p.m. so that families can say, when you get from school, when you arrive at school, then we're going to go to the museum. The economy is changing. You're no longer competing with generations at 8 p.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's nothing where
Or the 8 p.m. news bulletin. News are every
news are
minute.
everywhere,
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah.
So, we value that contribution that we've made to allow, there's that thing that says you must when you think in a certain way, when you're brave, you give other people permission to also think creatively.
Up to 100.
And I like that about the work that we did. It was, difficult work. It's difficult to start something. They always say that it's always better if you're number 2 in a trade.
I can imagine, this gets me, my mind. I can imagine a night tour in Soweto on a Wednesday, and it coincides with a fashion show on Vilakazi Street, with all the products there being spaces where you can get, you book a sakumzi with your guest, you sit there, there's a fashion show that runs, in the street. A night dinner inside Hector Peterson Memorial, where you are able to book your family there. That on its own transforms, the actual business offering of the place. And now you are able to consume your culture and your heritage in a much more relaxed manner through food. And people think you only go to Hector Peterson on June 16.
And that's not the case.
And I understand that this is the model that your business is trying to do. As we move on, Nomi, you are also in music.
I am.
And earlier today, we were showcasing some of the spaces and places that young women in tourism, young women in the creative space could go in. We went to music studios, we went to the gaming hub where people are coding and the like. And again, the places are dominated by young women as pioneers out there. So the tours and the choir and your musical journey, is there a connection here?
Absolutely. Music in South Africa and globally, it's a very fast-moving, it's like technology, very fast-moving space, a very trend-driven space. And as a creative, I had to say, okay, Nomsa, are you going to chase this trend? Is this you as your brand? Are you going to align with the trends and what's happening in the space? There's things that, as an artist, as a creative, everybody must know. You got to do it like this. And then I said to myself, oh, am I going to stay true to myself and trust God and my process?
Yeah.
And I had to make a decision, and I said, you know what, I can't keep up with the trend. I am not that kind of artist. I love to think about the music I'm creating. I'm a lyricist. I love writing my lyrics. I love thinking about lyrics. I love thinking about, current affairs. My music, I don't want you to only get up and dance. I want it to hit you. I want you to relate to it. I want you to get goosebumps. I want you to be spiritually moved by the music. And so for me, my night tours then became my own circuit. I said to myself, well, I'm going to have to figure out a way to distribute my music in a way that is still distribution, it's still organized. And I thought, I'm going to distribute it through my passion, which is community work, which is women's safety, which is upliftment of people. But my music is not only about that. My music is about love. It's about quality of life. Everything that I do at the end of the day, it's about previously disadvantaged communities being able to access quality livelihoods.
Absolutely.
And so my music, I utilize my night tours as a way in which to distribute my music. So when we advertise in the night tours, the music that's always playing, it's my own music. When we do activities, I like to incorporate the night tours. Some of my new music, when we walk through a museum, if I've been working on a piece of music, I'll sing it a cappella while we're doing a night tour with my backing vocalist.
Yeah.
And we're just adding to the experience. I think that in this digital age, we should not forget the importance of touch,
Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
connection,
Yeah.
deep. There's a deepness to creativity. Yes, we like to dance and have moves and get the moves right and do things together and have that, digital connectivity. But there's nothing that matches physical community.
Yeah.
And so I still am building community, and I utilize my night walks to contact my following, my people. And it's just another way to
And
get this stuff
I
out.
guess that also speaks to wellness because, as you were saying, people, if they are able to walk and you are able to earn your your points, you are able to meet your fitness goal while you are consuming your favorite spaces and places. So it doesn't get much more exciting than that. But
Absolutely.
talking about music, and the influence of music in shaping destination places and spaces stories. So when you think of Soweto, what songs comes to mind?
Oh my gosh, definitely Soweto Blues.
You know?
Hey, that song.
You know.
Soweto Blues. I mean, that's Mire Makeba and Bragi Masekela. You know, that song tells the story of June 16, 1976. The children got a letter from the master. It said, no more Xhosa, no more Sutu, no more Zulu. Refusing to comply, they sent the answer. That's when the policemen came to the rescue. Children were dying, bullets flying. Yabo?
For the
That song,
indigenous language.
that song played globally.
Yeah.
That song, people know it. Da 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 da. People know Soweto Blues. Soweto Blues is the song of June 16, 1976.
100.
Now, when you listen to the interviews of Letambulu, Kaifa Semenya, when you listen to the musicians who took our story overseas, King Kong, all of those musicals, Sarafina, when you take that story globally, Soweto is an international destination
100.
because of music.
So how do we then now challenge the current generation of artists, of creators, to actually leverage this template that was being set for them? How do we experience Juku Lane in Pretoria differently from the nonsensical crime and gangster work thing that comes out there, and start telling the story? How do we follow on Lady Zama when she says Ma Melody, and get that in many? Because I am sitting at Visit Gauteng and I want to work with you and do a compilation that tells this destination through our soundtracks. But it can't just always be Soweto Blues. How do we incorporate what exists now into storytelling our destination through our own soundtracks?
Baba, it goes to changing mindsets. There's an example that I like to make. We have adopted a Eurocentric way of thinking. It's a scarcity mindset. Our mindset, if we think about life, we think there's not enough jobs, there's not enough this, there's not enough. That's a scarcity mindset. That's a very Eurocentric way of thinking because of their environment. In Europe, it's always cold. The crops don't grow like they grow in Africa.
The sun is
The
scarce.
sun is scarce.
Yeah.
They are living in scarcity. And what we've done is that we've taken the good and the bad from other countries. where we're only supposed to take the good. We've taken the good and the bad. And the bad that we've taken is a scarcity mindset. So when you're dealing with creatives, you are dealing with people that have a scarcity mindset. They don't have an abundant way of thinking. We need to get into abundance thinking. Abundance thinking allows you to say, I live in the best country with the best weather, and God has actually given us abundance of sunlight and abundance for tourism. So, as a creative, I've said, no, man. There's a big relationship between tourism and creativity.
Yes.
My music travels. So, instead of my music traveling on its own, my music travels with Soweto Night Out Tours. To say, when my music goes to Brazil, it says to Brazilians, you can book Nomi Superstar, or when you come to South Africa, you can do Nomi Superstar's night tour.
Yeah.
Because as creatives, really, in South Africa, we should not be thinking about our careers like Americans. Americans have a big market. In America, there's 250 million people.
Yeah.
So when you release a single as Beyonce, your market, who can afford your music, is 250 million people. In South Africa, we've got 55 million people. We've got an unemployment rate of 40%. So already, only 20 million of those people can buy your music. And can you tap into all 20 million of them? So you've got to think creatively to say, wait a minute, there's this thing that's going on. There's tourism. That's why we have the choir, because choral music is one of our biggest exports.
Absolutely.
And I used to have many different kinds of creatives on my walking routes. But when I had the choral music, I said, no. There's a marriage here. Because when somebody likes Karabo Yamurena in the Netherlands, because of their choral music, when they're thinking about bringing their choir to South Africa, I want to be the night tourism business.
Absolutely.
I want to be the tour operator. They must call me first.
But you can imagine when there's a choir festival coming in here, world choir festivals, and now during their spare time or when they are done or at the knockout stages, others are knocked out and they go on a tour, and the tour includes a choir that gives you this. There is all that.
And you see, I've taken myself out of the race that I could never run.
Yeah.
Wabo, race, and I don't want to mention them by name, those big tour multinational operators. That race, I'm limp, I've got a stab wound, I've got asthma. That race, I can't run it.
Yeah.
But that race where I say to myself, I'm looking at my economy. And in my economy, there's tourism. And in my economy, there's creativity. And in my economy, there's choral music. And these are my touch points. We all have to have that abundance thinking that says, how has God given me the tools that I need to succeed? Not how am I so deprived of this economy? You know, the CPFs, when I met them, I said, how wonderful this work that you're doing. And now this work that they're doing, it just gives them children. It gives them an income. It gives them what they've been looking for. Because their thinking was, we wanted to be safe. They were not thinking, I want to make money. They said, we just want our livelihoods to be nice.
Yeah.
And in that making their livelihoods to be nice, I came and I said, hallelujah, amen, I also believe in that. So for me with my music, that's how I was thinking about it. And with the ladies Amas of this world, you know, I would love them to become members of Sato Vito.
Yes.
Because there are resorts in Limpopo, beautiful resorts, black-owned resorts. It's very nice for a long weekend to say, ladies, Ama weekend.
Yes.
At that resort. Because the fans will buy the tickets.
But the weekend starts with a hiking with Ladies Amana.
Yes.
And then it goes into
Yes.
a lunch.
And then we
and
are
the food pairing, and then you are doing a cookout.
Yes.
And then before the concert,
Yes.
exclusive in the evening.
Because when we're thinking about the venues
We love
venues
it.
are out of our control. We don't own the venues.
Absolutely.
So don't worry about the venues. Let's create a new experience. It's about us being innovative and bold in creating for ourselves.
And who says the venue is the bricks and mortar? Anyway?
Exactly. The venue is not the bricks and mortar.
Gotcha.
You are the venue.
Yeah.
The venue is the audience. And so for many young artists, when you talk to them, you say, they'll say things like, I want to book this venue, but there's gatekeepers, they've got their own promoters, all of that. Yes, we are living in a country of gatekeeping. because they know that they've convinced us of scarcity thinking.
Absolutely.
Stop thinking in a scarcity mode. Think in an abundance mode. Say, there's a gatekeeper there, which means there's a gate. I don't want to go where there's gates.
Yeah. You just kick the gate.
There's so much no more that doesn't have gates. Now I
Yeah.
walk where there's no gates. The CPF, there was no gate there. They said, I want to pay you for this thing that you're doing. They said, hallelujah, come, let's go.
Yeah.
And then we built. So I go to the places where there's no gates. I'm that person. And where there's gates, and the gates are handled by, I would say, us in this new democracy, like the museums. I went to those gates and I said, wouldn't you like this gate to be open for longer so that you can make more money?
Absolutely.
And they said yes, because that was my approach to say, how don't you want to make more money? Or why are you here in this business?
And why do you open at 8 when everybody's going to work?
Yes, but
And close at 5 when everybody's going back home?
Papa, I'll leave that to you. Now I know that I don't have the stamina to question people.
Yeah.
I have the stamina to entice.
Yeah.
So I don't say, why do you open at 8? I say, why don't you stay open? Whether they open at 8 or not, I don't want, sometimes, because we've also got that mentality, cabanga ukuthi ngcono mentality. I don't like to poke that bear, that cabanga ukuthi ngcono bear. No.
Yeah.
I like to say to people, why don't we try like this, yabo? And then I've been very lucky and fortunate and blessed and honored by God to be in a position where people listened and they said, let's try it like this. But I would love for us as young people, as South Africans, as the future of this country, to start having an abundance mentality. Yeah. When we wake up, don't say I'm unemployed. Say I have not yet been deployed. And look for the areas of deployment.
Yes. Yourselves. You
yes. Look for where you need to be deployed.
Yeah.
Because even that thing where the politicians say they're going to create jobs, they are keeping you in the scarcity mindset because you're waiting for the job.
Yeah.
But actually, there's an abundance of opportunity in South Africa.
You just need to unlock. And closing up, how do we, and for me, it's a partner marketing thing. And without a doubt, you are a thought leader.
Thank you.
In this specific space. And I guess that also comes with ability to bring other partners on board. You are bringing the choir, you are bringing the museums, you are bringing Rhapsody that you hosted just a few weeks ago. You are able to bring the radio stations and the like. But how important in a digital and a creator economy set up where there's individuals and individuals think this is it. I want to make it. And there is and there is very little and scarcity of we as this evolves.
Mm-hmm.
And when you embrace we, it becomes a partnership that benefits a whole circle and keeps this sustainably.
I think that what we need to accept is that there is no power in the absence of community. And I like to make the example of, even for you to exist, Baba, even for you to be here, it was an act of community.
Yeah.
Two people had to come together to make you.
Yeah.
So God has already shown us, God has told us all the secrets of life. If you look at how God has built the world, God says there can be nothing without community. There can be nothing with only one.
Yeah.
When you are operating as I, you must know that the road you are on is very short. Community is absolutely everything. And when you start thinking as a collective and stop thinking as an individual, that's when we see real progress. Now, I will say, working in the community I work in, that can be very difficult for a person like me. I think in community.
100.
And now, when you think in community and everybody you're working with has signed a prenup,
Yeah.
you get burnt. I've
100.
been burnt
Yeah.
many, many times.
Yeah.
But every time I get burnt, I pray. I have to let people know that I'm a very spiritual
Religious.
person.
Yeah.
I pray. I pray to God, and I don't stop what I'm doing.
And you
And
fail,
I
and you fail forward.
and I fail forward.
For me,
I fail
that's it.
forward.
Yeah.
I fail, but I go to those people and I say to them, I remind them, remember that this thing is going to be successful if we think collectively.
So as we wrap up, Noms, how do people book you? And what's in store? Like I'm saying, I see you and appreciate you as one of those dynamic tastemakers that are there. So we are walking, we're experiencing all of this is at night. You have identified the gap, you are closing in the gap. So corporates, startups, creatives, maybe fellow artists that wants to join you in the walking, and they can be 100 voices walking and singing, together with the choir. How did they get hold of you, and what's in store in the coming weeks and months out of the Soweto Night Tours?
To make a booking, you go to Soweto Night Out Tours. Soweto Night Out Tours. You must be a group of at least 20 people to make a booking. It's Soweto Night Out Tours. You can book any day of the year. We are available. Our website is open. There's different routes. You book the route that you'd like, and then once you've made your booking, we are all we're a way to go. We pick you up in Rosebank and we take you on your tour and we drop you back off in Rosebank, and that makes it easy for people to then Uber to their homes afterwards. For any corporates in South Africa, this is an excellent way to build your team. It's a heritage experience. It's learning about our country and the experience of our country, but it's also active protest. We are creating the world we want to live in.
Absolutely. It doesn't get bigger than walking on the streets of Orlando West, which have now been declared a World Heritage Site,
Absolutely.
which means we are actually now just a custodianship for the rest of the world. They no longer belongs to us. So you can imagine now you are having a night tour and a walk in these streets, following on the footsteps of Archbishop Tutu, Tata Nelson Mandela, Mama Winnie Mandela, Mama Albertina Sisulu,
Absolutely.
and many of the women stalwarts that made it possible to be celebrating this Women's Month. Nonimi Superstar,
Thank you,
Nomsa
Papa.
Mazwai.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
for really
me.
coming through
Yes.
and sharing with us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. And I want to just do a little shout out and thank you for all your tremendous support. And we look forward to celebrating more milestones together with Gauteng Tourism. It's something that we look forward to. And this Women's Month, don't forget to get my brand new single next week, Tuesday. It's now available on all streaming platforms. And come out on a Soweto Night Out Tours.
We'll actually make sure we also get it on our Visit Gauteng app.
Absolutely.
Get the music in there so that you are able to interface with it. As they say, if you want to walk very fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, work with the community. Mm-hmm. That has been another episode of Gauteng Live. Don't forget to follow us at Visit Gauteng on Instagram and on Twitter and at TikTok. I Love Gauteng on Facebook. We also have the Visit Gauteng mobile app where you can bring your product, subscribe your product, and let us show and tell and share with the world what you are offering. From me and the rest of the crew, it's been another exciting and thrilling episode of Gauteng Live, your premier podcast where we discuss everything entertainment, sports, entertainment, creative economy, and the visitor economy. And until the next episode, second round.